Hello viewers, welcome to our program on Immigration and You. I am your immigration attorney Michael Fulwani, and once again we have with us my partner David Nachman. David, welcome.
Thanks so much, Michael. Always a pleasure to be on with you.
Well, I know at the time today when we are starting this program, most of our viewers are busy still trying to mail their tax returns.
They've sharpened their pencils, they have their tax returns right in front of them, and they're filling in those little boxes.
So hopefully a lot of you get your refunds and
Exactly.
finish this thing that you have
Get
to
it done for one more year.
One more year.
Right.
Okay, with that, David, I think what we want to do today to start with some information about the H-1B visas, and as we are doing this program much before they are watching the program. At the time that we are doing the program, the H-1 visa numbers are available, but by the time that you will watch, maybe the H-1 numbers might be gone. So this program, David is going to tell you, supposing today when you are watching the program, H-1B numbers have already gone, what are the other options? What can you do now, David?
Well, Michael, we're hoping and praying, of course, that the H-1B numbers haven't all been resorbed.
Then in that case, they can continue to file
And then,
H-1Bs.
of course, they should continue to file H-1Bs, and that means, of course, that our abilities to continue to work with your prospective H-1B employers to help you to understand the procedures and what needs to be done, we're there and willing to help.
Nevertheless, this information we are giving today is going to be helpful anyway, because at some point,
Well,
at some point
it's going to run out.
will be gone. So
That's
if you
right.
know this already,
That's right. Well,
then that's helpful to you.
That's right. Well, we should remind our viewers that there are 65,000 H-1B visas available for baccalaureate degree or its U.S. equivalent professional workers, and 20,000 available to individuals who have a master's degree, and those have to be U.S. master's degree. But like you properly point out, Michael, what do you do when the H-1Bs are gone? So what do you do? Well, the first thing that you do is you, the viewers, need to know that there are certain H-1Bs that are exempt from the cap. So the ones that are exempt are filings that are made where you're extending your H-1B. There's also something called a recapture. If an individual has not spent a full 6 years, which means 365 times 6 years, in 365 days times 6, if you multiply that out, that's the amount of time that you're allowed to be in the United States in H-1B status. And if you haven't fulfilled that full amount of time, you can do what's called a recapture and get that time back. So any time that you've spent outside the United States, whether it be on vacation or whatever it is, whatever reason you were outside the United States, you can get that time back on H-1B. Right. The other thing is that obviously there are other exemptions. For example, filings for academic institutions, those are exempt. And also there is what's called the Affiliation Rule, which means that if you're working for an organization that is affiliated with an academic institution of higher learning, then you may also be able to come out from under the cap. So you don't have to worry about that. So an analysis, of course, has to be made as to whether or not you are working for an organization that is quote unquote affiliated with an academic institution. Also, government research organizations are also exempt under the cap. But then you go sort of
let us say that
with the analysis.
Let us say that nothing is available under the
right.
exemption.
So then what do you do? Well, the next option then is, of course, if we have an individual who might be an artist, we look at the O1 visa. The O1B visa is an opportunity. Those are the artist visas. And if an artist visa doesn't work, well, there are also other opportunities that exist for individuals who are Indians, or what we do is we also look to the possibility of, if you're a Canadian, you have maybe a Canadian passport, then you can also possibly do a TN. So the TN exists. If you're Australian, you may have the E3 available to you, and so on. So there may be other opportunities. And so an exhaustive analysis needs to be done for each individual. And as you can see, just from what I'm pointing out here, it's not a cookie cutter, one fits all analysis. You want to take a look at all of your options that might be available to you, including the possibility of remaining in the United States as a worker for a foreign organization, which is another way for you to be in the United States as, let's say, a consultant. That's a little more dicey, especially in India. We've had some issues at the consulate with that. But the key here is to do a full-blown analysis. Michael.
Yeah, that's a very good, important information. And move on to something else today, is that recently there have been some reports that quite a good number, actually I have the number, is 2,228 immigrants have been released from the jail. And these are most of the people that are minor crimes, or just illegal stays only and no danger to themselves or to the society. And those people, the logic is that they are saying that there are 409,849 detainees today in the jails, immigration. Average of 34,000, sorry. Average of 34,000 people are arrested and put in the jail every day. Now, there's millions of dollars the government is spending. You know, I read an article and information which says it cost about $150, $160 or maybe more per person per day. It's like staying in a 5-star hotel or Hilton hotel or whatever.
I'd rather stay at a 5-star hotel.
5-star hotel. So they think that it is a waste of time, and I think they didn't say that, but in my opinion, one of the reasons, of course, is the budget, the problem, the money the government has.
Right.
The other way also thinking is that if the comprehensive immigration reform bill gets passed, some of these people may be eligible also to apply for that. So they kind of a policy that they have adopted now or trying to go forward with that. The Republicans have opposed that also, that don't let the people go. I can understand there were some 12 or 15 or 20 people that were, very serious crimes. Then the ICE said that was a mistake. They arrested them, put them back in the jail.
Yeah, they're not going to be letting those
That is correct.
go.
That is correct.
Well, and Michael, this all comes out of what's called sequestration,
Money.
which everyone has been talking about, which has to do with the budget and the government's ability to, finance the ongoing ability of the government to exist. And I think that they've come to terms with that. So, but what you're pointing out is a really, really important point, because if you take a look at the provisions of the new comprehensive immigration reform bill that was released, these are the ones that were leaked. They were the White House provisions that were leaked to the Miami Herald. There actually is discussion in those provisions about re-implementing 212C back to prior to 1996. So if we have that provision in the law, that might be very helpful to these individuals too.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. A lot of these people, especially from border areas, Mexico and South America, they come back and forth, and once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, they have been arrested and deported 5 times.
That's right.
So that's that problem.
Well, that's almost a way of life for them.
Yes, that's old times. I remember old times. They used to go to Christmas time back home,
Right.
and come back. Just
right.
like this, border doesn't exist at all.
That's right.
Anyway, that's past. That's the history. Anyway, one other important information is there a shift in the population of USA, and the report that I got is, they say in about 2040, the whites will be in minority. And you count yourself in whichever category, but
I guess.
yes. Okay. So you will be in minority, and we will be in majority. Why is that so? Because the death rate in the whites is more than the birth rate.
Yeah.
And the birth rate in the non-whites, lot of communities, maybe blacks, maybe Latinos, Asians, Indians, Pakistan, is much higher. As a result of which, the political power, this issue is coming from going forward. The political power is going to increase. The minorities are going to have more political power. Look today, look 20 years ago. They didn't care for Latinos or this vote or that at all.
Right.
Today they have the power.
Tremendous voting bloc.
They have congressmen, they have senators who are from Latinos, from minority groups, from Indians now also.
Exactly.
So this picture is changing, and of course the Republicans are now concerned. They want to woo the minorities also, because the minority number becomes so big. Then obviously they will be hurt a lot, Republican Party. So they want these minority groups to be also included in the Republican parties, planning from now onwards. One last word before you say.
Yeah, no problem.